it has a countdown.
I know. Shit.
Okay, I'm recording. You're recording. We are good
Yep.
to go. Oh my god. Okay. Hi everyone. It's so funny. Okay. I'm so nervous.
Like staring at ourselves.
Yes, because I'm like, I'm just, audio is just so different. Okay, welcome to the Modern Freedom Podcast video form. Like, welcome YouTube. Like, this is gonna be on YouTube, so like, I'm so excited. So if you're watching this on YouTube, hi.
Hey,
Thank
y'all.
you for being here. Hi. Oh, yeah. See, now I'm like, y'all can see clearly that we have a guest today on the podcast, Lexi, one of my favorite people in the world, Lexi Beal. Lexi, welcome. It's so funny. Okay. So let's welcome Lexi to the podcast. Watch this, guys. Watch this. This is dope. Watch what I'm gonna do here.
Oh.
I think this is. Is it gonna go? Oh, I have to press play.
Am I waiting? I'm waiting.
Yeah, I'm waiting. Come on, go, go, go. No, it's not gonna work. I was gonna have cheering.
Oh, like an applause?
Yes, but it's not.
That's okay.
It's not. It's not working.
Also, I think people are going to see that on YouTube.
That was perfect. I loved it. That was like the perfect entrance.
I was totally pretending as if I was like, walking on stage at like a talk show host for anyone who's listening to this.
I love that. I love that. Okay, so let's get going. So Lexi, I've had you on the podcast before, and so if y'all haven't listened to it's episode 7. I actually was listening to it last night, and I was like, I'm gonna listen to this just to kind of see where we were then compared to where we are now, and I think if you really wanted to get to know Lexi, definitely go listen to that podcast. My cat is going to knock down my door, and I'm just going to go let him out real quick. Oh, people are going to see. People are going to see. This is all the stuff I edit, you guys. This is why YouTube.
But this is real life, though. This is how podcasts actually go in real time. I'm drinking coffee. Yes, hello, everyone. Cheers.
I was gonna get a drink, but I'm just haven't been feeling the cafe here anymore. I'm like, yeah, and I was gonna make me one, but anyways, welcome, Lexi. Tell us a little bit about yourself.
Thank you. I know it's actually so crazy that you and I recorded that podcast. What, like 2 years ago? It has been 2 years because I've been living here in Mexico now for 2 years. And when you and I recorded that podcast, I had just moved to Manzanillo. And I had been there for maybe like 2 weeks. So it was so fresh and so new for me. And it's so interesting. I need to go back and listen to that episode because the work that I do now, I think the core message is always the same. But my work has shifted so radically. I have had many deaths and rebirths since 2 years ago. So it's quite funny how that goes. But anyways, hello, everyone. My name is Lexi Beal. I am an embodiment and energetic mastery coach. And I focus on really helping women uncover the parts of themselves that they have been told is quote unquote too much, or whatever too much is for them, and really, really unlock those parts of themselves and show up more expressed and more liberated in the world. And I've actually been obsessed with this concept of too muchness recently. And I've been asking myself almost every day, I swear to God. And you guys will see us when you watch this on YouTube. If you look at me and Jen, we are like exuding too muchness. It is so fabulous. Like
Yeah.
Jen has this like fantastic flower crown that I know you made all on your own. Her and I both have like almost matching like gold dangly earrings. And yeah, I've just been asking myself like what feels like too much and allowing myself to kind of lean into that edge a little bit. And so it's been really fun and really expansive. And a lot of the times it does feel like, oh my God, am I really going to do this? Ugh. Like it gives you that like twisty, crunchy feeling in the pit of your stomach. And you're like, okay, this is good. This is good. Okay, I'm going to do this. Here we go.
Yes. And I, like you said, you've had a lot of rebirths in the last 2 years, but
Oh my
at the
God.
core, you still have the same message.
Mm.
And it's true. That's something I kind of want to reflect a little bit on the last 2 years, and then I have some questions that I wanted to ask you. I actually,
Oh, bring it.
since your last workshop, I'm so glad I wrote down the questions in because I would have totally forgot them. So I have them on my phone. And then I definitely want to talk more about, I'm sure it'll be throughout the podcast, but like about what you do because I have witnessed it. I've worked with you, thankfully. Like it's funny because in the podcast then I was like, yeah, maybe one day I'll work with you. And now I have, and I'm like so thankful. I'm like, yes. Because I'm like, now I can like testify too. I'm like, no, Lexi knows her shit.
Oh, thank you.
No, you do. I'm like, but yeah, the core is that, where was I going with this? Okay.
Right, it's like
What did you say?
your the core I don't even think I even said this out loud, but like the core has always been like
I
your
remember.
external world is a reflection of your inner world, and all of
Mm-hmm.
my work is about our relationships with ourselves and the
Mm-hmm.
conversations that we have with ourselves and how we feel about ourselves, because that's directly going to reflect how we show up in our other relationships with people, how we show up in our relationships in our business, our relationships with our offers in our business, our relationship with money, and quite literally everything else that we are in relationship with. And so the deeper that we can get to know and unlock the parts of ourselves that we've like suppressed into oblivion because of all the conditioning and programming like in society or in our family systems or from religion, whatever it is, really being able to tap into those parts of ourselves that really hold so much power allows us to like create this deeper sense of connection and closeness within all of our relationships. But that has to start with YOU, with us.
Yes, and it seems like the layers are never ending.
Oh, never
Like I went to your
ending.
workshop. Yes, and it's funny because like I'll hear you say things or like I'll see you on Instagram, doing what you do, and I'm like, oh, that kind of doesn't really resonate with me, but like it does. But like I support the message, but I'm like, this is not really in my
Wheelhouse in the
reflecting my
moment.
life right now,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and then it does, and I'm like, what the fuck? Okay, like where did this come from? But no, I guess one of the questions, like I loved that during your workshop you mentioned that let me look at my notes here. It's like you have to create the space first and
Mm.
then you reverse engineer. And I love that because recently I am starting to I haven't talked about this because I've been scared to talk about this even on my podcast, where my podcast there's like literally there's no boundaries between me and the like I am just unfiltered.
Unfiltered.
But yeah, there's like no curtain or nothing. I tell it all here. But I've been a
Mm.
little I'm not sure, but I've really been wanting to be self-employed again and like really hone in on my business and make
Yes.
uh wealth for myself, and it's been terrifying. And I'm going to do a podcast on this, on like embodying fear and like what fear really feels like, because um I always say like, oh, I consider myself to be really fearless and like do a little bit more than the average person, like have the guts to go against the grain more than the average person. But even then, when you see things like, it's funny you mentioned this on episode 7, but like if you're not doing something that is uncomfortable at least every day on your business, you're not like going hard enough or something like that. And it's like, no, like, you think to yourself, no, I'm doing it. I'm doing the hard thing. I'm doing the thing I'm supposed to be doing. But then I realized, like, when I start to think about me being a solopreneur again, really embracing the small business, me as an artist, that it is so terrifying. Like, I mean,
Amen.
Terrifying that I get anxiety and like I feel it in my chest, and I'm like, what is this? What is this emotion that I'm feeling? I'm like, oh, this is fear. But in the past, what I've done is because of that feeling that fear brings to me, like I would go back and be like, oh no, I'm just gonna go get a 9-to-5 job. That's safe. I know it's gonna bring income in, instead of really like sitting with the emotion of fear and be like, okay, this is really horrifying. Like I can feel it, but can I move past this? Can I move past this so that I can do the work that will actually get me to where I want to be? Because going back to my 9-to-5, my safety net is never really going to get me to where I want to be, which is be
sufficient.
Sufficient. Thank you. So yeah, that really resonated with me when you said that, and I guess if you want to expand on that, making the space for the thing you want, you desire.
Yes, I think a lot of the times, especially we want a lot of things in our life, and it's so beautiful to have like big beautiful dreams and big beautiful desires. And I know this from my own experience. There were so many times in my life or in my business that I was like cursing the universe because I was like, I'm ready for the thing. Why won't you give me the thing? Like, what the hell do I need to do? X, Y, and Z, yada, yada. And creating the space is really like, I want you to imagine, let me see if I can like paint a picture here. Imagine like an outline of your body, right? And it's like full all the way to the top, except for this tiny little sliver that's open, like at the very top. And we're asking to receive all of these things in like big quantities and big amounts, but we only have this tiny little sliver of space to receive it. And we're wondering why we're unable to like receive the thing. So allowing ourselves to create space means that we are allowing ourselves to feel the things, right? Like feel the fear, feel the discomfort, feel the resistance, to be able to sit with those things and allowing ourselves to do. And as you know, a lot of the work that I do is quite literally like sound work, to shake out the chaotic vibrations that are happening in the body, or the stuck vibrations that are in energy that's like happening in the body. I do a lot of work with movement. Energy or emotion quite literally means energy in motion. And so when we like suppress our emotions or suppress our fear and try to like bulldoze over it and be like, no, fuck it, I don't feel fear, let me just like move past it and ignore it and pretend it isn't there, it doesn't make it go away. In fact, it just makes it feel, it just grows. And then you start to have like this fear pounding in the back of your heart that's like, you're not listening to me. And then it kind of forces you to listen. So a lot of the work that I do allows ourselves to create the space by like sitting with and being with and moving through the stuff that we try to suppress a lot in our lives.
Yes, it does. And like I think I really want to like make this clear for the audience, because they might be thinking the same things I was when I first heard like moving through fear, or making space for these things with movement and sound. At first I thought it was like very zen stuff, very very zen, and I'm like, right. Okay, things I've seen online.
Yeah, all the beautiful like, goddessy type stuff.
Yes, and I was like, you had a workshop recently, and I knew it was gonna be good just because I said I've worked with you, I've attended your workshops, so like I'm a fan, like I'm always like, yes, like
Mhm.
she knows her shit. Like I always walk away with something, right? And I was like, movement, like what could she like? I had like yoga and stuff, like I do movement, like, and I know like that's a huge, like it helps me a lot. But then in your workshop, it was like dancing, but like it's not just dancing. It's like it was very specific, but also just, I just kind of like opened my eyes to seeing it differently, to using sound
Mhm.
differently, and using it and movement, and like not just saying like, because I feel like we hear a lot on or see on the online space a lot, tips and stuff like, um yeah, we carry these emotions in our body, right? And like we gotta move them,
Yeah, they're like
sometimes.
actual vibrations that
Mhm,
just sit in your body. And sound and movement allows us to like bring a lot of those chaotic vibrations that are happening in your body into
mhm,
more of like a beautiful, like if you think of like a sound, like a literal sound wave, right? It brings us more into a deeper sense of like harmony and calm in our bodies when we use sound and movement. Um, and I think maybe what I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. I cut you off.
you're good, you're good. Take it
Okay.
away, girl, take it away.
um, you're talking about my body weave masterclass that we just did. It
Mhm,
was a 2-day masterclass, 90 minutes each day. And like a lot of the voice work that I do, there's a bunch of different type of voice work that I do. I focus a lot on like the humming or the vocal toning, which if anybody knows what that is, it's quite literally just a single syllable that we sound at like one tone. So whether it's like a hum or an ah or an ooh, there's a very specific vowel sounds for each chakra that we can use. And then I also do a lot of work with like audible catharsis, which is essentially if we're feeling or experiencing an emotion in the body, let's say like anger, for example, for us to tune in and find, okay, where am I experiencing anger in my body right now? And it could be like in your stomach area. And if you were to put a sound as the most, a sound to like represent that feeling of anger that you're experiencing in your body, what would that sound like? And allowing that sound to like come through you no matter what it is, right? So a lot of this voice work and this movement work, and I even said this in the first day, it is not about looking pretty, sounding good, sounding pretty. During the dance or movement portion on the second day, I literally said to everybody, like, there is no rhyme or reason to your movement. You do not need any sort of rhythm. You don't even have to know how to dance. There's no like 5, 6, 7, 8. Like it quite literally is all about feeling. You don't even have to like your own sounds. You don't even have to like your own movement. You only have to feel it. So it's very intuitive. And I think this is so important because we tend to get um, in our heads a lot. And I think even as a society, we very much what's the word I'm looking for? Like hold dear this put togetherness and acceptability and agreeability. Like everything has to be beautifully professional and put together. And that is like the complete fucking opposite of the work that I do. I mean, sometimes it's looking like a bad bitch, so like, let's be real. Right? But I think a lot of the really transformational power of the work that I do is in kind of like doing the reverse of what we've been taught we're supposed to do and how we're supposed to look and how we're supposed to act, and to really let that like feral, primal, animalistic parts of ourselves come forward. And we have a lot of resistance to that, especially as women.
100%.
Mm.
100% can relate to that. Like, whew, like I recently uncovered some of that stuff too, like how I talked about it on the last episode, how I hold my like yeah, I changed who I am for men and like hold back parts of myself. Ugh, no, thank you, not anymore. Um,
Yeah, we all do that though. A
yes,
lot more than we realize. But we can feel it though if we're able to like tap into our bodies, which is what I like to do with, the all of the work that I do is very somatic, right? And somatic quite literally just means body, like feeling into the body. Our body knows. Our body's like constantly like waving down these red flags like, "No, this isn't you. No, stop people pleasing. No, stop doing no, take rest." And we are like, "Huh? What? Huh? I can't hear you. I don't need that." We like look past it. And yeah, a lot of this work is about like allowing ourselves to like listen to the wisdom of our body because it knows. It has the answers, and it's like, are we allowing ourselves to slow down enough to hear what our body is trying to tell us?
yes, agreed. I kind of want to move into this concept of pleasure first approach to life.
Pleasure, pleasure.
And I, yes, and you have, like I said, your messaging has been very consistent in the last 2 years, which is very admirable. And I will get into all that because
I want to say it did not feel that way for me. So, for everybody listening, I'm so glad that's how
really
it looked on
well,
the outside, because on the inside, I'm like, what the fuck am I doing most of the time?
well, a message. It definitely you have. So like I don't know, just
I
when
accept
you go
that
back and listen to the
wholeheartedly.
episode, you can be like, but it's also it was a little scary because I was also listening to myself and what I was saying at that time, and I'm like, holy shit, I haven't changed, and it's like we are two different people. Like we have a lot of similarities. Like I always feel like
Yeah.
you have been like at the core, like your message very like resonates with what I'm trying to get across with people on the podcast, but your way of expressing it is completely different, obviously. And I love it. But that being said, I feel like I'm very this. And you're
It's
well, no,
beautiful.
no, no, no. Well, it's more like I feel like there's more than one type of person out there, but I feel like there's people who I'm multi passionate. I have many passions, as you can tell, and it's very hard for me to just focus on like a couple of things because I want to do all the things. And I've always kind of like admired people who like they know exactly like when you talked on that episode 7, you love coaching, like
I
without a doubt.
do.
Like this shit lights you up, and I love that you said like you want to keep it boutique and small and have just like a couple of great offers. You don't necessarily want to do all the things, and you've stuck to that, and I love that for you. Um, yeah, but for me, it was like I didn't know then, and I'm not even sure I know now, and I'm like, I need to, I need to see what's going on here. But
I've actually shifted. I have a completely different mindset from a lot of things, even from that podcast. So it's quite interesting. Even you saying that now, I'm like, I love the boutique business in terms of like I don't want a massive team of people. That doesn't sound like fun to me. I don't want. I still don't want 900 million offers, but and I think even at that point I was like, I don't do group coaching program because I'm all about
you were
like,
thinking about it.
was I? Oh my god, it
Yeah,
took
you
me
were thinking
two
about it in the near
years
future. Yeah,
because
I
I was
know.
a
I
big old
realized that
scaredy
too.
cat.
Yeah, you're like I'm thinking about it. Maybe in the future, we'll see how it develops. I'm like,
Oh,
babe, she did it.
girl,
I'm doing
it
it now.
it took me 2 years, right? Like there was so much
Yeah.
fear um, around doing that. I'm in the middle of a launch right now for my first ever group coaching program. So people who are listening, like I'm launching my first ever group coaching program as we speak.
Yes.
But there was something else I was gonna say, and I totally can't remember. So you continue, and if it comes back to me, I'll
Okay.
finish what I was saying.
So the pleasure first approach to life. I really like that how you coach on as well prioritizing joy and what feels good and doing and actually prioritizing it. But what I want to know is we at the end of the day we got businesses to run, right? Like we got to put in work. So where I guess where is those boundaries like? Because I feel like it could be easy to be like, well, I don't feel like doing this today. I feel like going to take a walk. I mean, a walk is not going to take all day, but you know what I'm saying? I feel like it could be a slippery slope, maybe, if only doing pleasurable things all the time. But then again, I guess if you see work as somewhat pleasurable, that would be considered it. But do you get what I'm trying to say? The question I'm asking, maybe?
Yeah. Well,
okay.
There's a difference between like hustling, and this is like Stacey Bayman's concept, but there's a difference between hustling, which typically ends up leading to burnout, and like working hard. So you can work really hard and get so much work done in like a single hour. So you don't need 9 hours a day or a 9 to 5 mentality in order to make shit happen in your life or in your business. And the pleasure first really is about, expanding your capacity to receive, and not only just receive, but to like have and hold the things that you're calling in. Right? A lot of the times we have a tendency to receive things, and they're like, okay, now on to the next thing. Like, okay, how do I get more? And how do I da, right? And we want to be able to, pleasure allows us to like sink into our bodies and sink into this like, wow, I created this for myself. Like I am allowed to indulge in myself. I am allowed to rest. I am allowed to enjoy the things that light me up, even on my work days. Because if we think that we're not allowed to enjoy ourselves like during our work weeks and it's only reserved for the weekends, like you can only have fun on the weekends, except most of the times, even for what I've seen a lot for business owners, especially women, their weekends are spent like stressing about the work that they either didn't do the past week or the extra work they're going to have to do in the week coming up. So you're not really actually enjoying your time off, right? Your mind is elsewhere. So pleasure really is all about expanding your capacity to receive and have and hold the things that you desire most in your life. I see your wheels turning. Are people people who watch this, you're like, huh. Huh.
I'm just like I said, I'm in the middle of changing my way of living. So I'm just taking it in and be like, okay, how can I'm just soaking it all in because I'm like, this is the year to make the change. You know what I mean? And so, but I have like, oh, go ahead.
No, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to cut you off.
Well, I was just thinking about like, I have these vacations planned and these concerts planned, and they feel terrifying.
Why?
Yeah, they feel terrifying because I'm like, because I'm working for myself, and right now my money is like, I'm just slowly starting to get momentum, right? Like I'm just starting out. I'm not starting from scratch, but I'm literally just like starting out, and it just feels like, I don't know. I feel like crazy. I feel insane for doing everything that I'm doing, honestly.
Well, yeah, like you said, you're a multi-passionate person, and I think you're learning how to combine all of your amazing passions into like one beautiful thing, which is something you are allowed to do. And I'll use myself. This is what I was going to say like previously. Friends who are listening, Jen and I are going to be hopping back and forth, jumping all around. So get used to it. You said that like I knew what I wanted and all the things. I knew that 2 years ago, I absolutely loved coaching, of course. I did love my job. And I also knew at the time that something I deeply wanted to bring into my coaching programs was sound healing and movement. And it took me, oh my God, a year and a half after that to even introduce sound healing into my programs because I was terrified. I was like, I can't, this is so weird. It's too much. People are going to think I'm fucking crazy. Like, are you a sound healer, Lexi, or are you a coach? Pick one. Like, you can't be both, was what my brain was telling me. Like, how are you going to introduce movement? Are you going to be like a yoga teacher again? Like, it was just so many things. And so I suppressed and I pushed away those parts of me for so long. And there were aspects of my business that I loved, but also a lot of it felt really, really draining and really hard because I kept trying to shove myself back into this little box of like, no, you're a coach. No, this is what you do. Like, you focus on like the internal work and you focus on like the mindset piece. Like, that's what you do. And I mean, it took me a really long time to be able to allow myself to even uncover these like really powerful parts of myself and then integrate them into my work. And so what you're seeing now, which I've been doing, you know, with like the movement and the sound work and the somatics, I just introduced, like, I fully committed to like 6 months ago, like fully committed. Like, this is what I'm doing and I don't give a fuck. And the people who want this. And I don't have to like dumb it down for people. I don't have to justify it. I don't have to like secretly apologize for it. Like, oh my God, okay, so we're going to try this new thing. And sorry if it's a little weird. Because I used to do that when I was first introducing it. Like, I would apologize to people and like justify why it was like so woo woo and so weird. And I don't do any of that anymore. So I want you to be so gracious with yourself and anyone else who's listening, that if there are parts of you that you deeply want to make a part of your work or part of your life, and it just feels a little bit, I like the word crunchy right now. It feels a little bit crunchy, like it doesn't feel smooth. That's okay. Like, you are in the active process of learning how to integrate and embody these really powerful parts of yourselves, like into your identity, into your being. And it will happen. It is inevitable. And I'm talking to you, Jen. It is inevitable. All of these multi-passionate things that you love, like, you will find the most amazing way for them to all just be one powerful thing that is you. And you won't have to pick or choose.
Yeah.
I know, my armpits are sweaty.
Yeah, it'll happen. It'll happen.
Yeah.
Thank you for that. I'm only cutting it there because I'm not gonna go here and talk about myself. But
well, you can if you want.
I took it on in. I can, but I do that on my solo episodes enough. Okay, I wanted to ask you. Okay, so a reoccurring topic here on the podcast is social media. And I realized that I'm very passionate about talking about social media because obviously we use it in our day-to-day lives, whether we're in business or we're not in business. And I feel very strongly about it. I really do. I think it depends. I go through phases, but it's still like it's been a consistent thing. Let's just put it that way. And I'm always curious to get other people's inputs, especially when I see that I feel like something is working for them and I like what they're doing. So for you, I noticed that, okay, I guess my question first for you is, with all the like platforms out there, how do you, like, I know you primarily are on Instagram, if not only on Instagram, if I'm correct.
I have an email list that's brand new.
Okay. Besides the email list,
there are 17 people on it, girl.
Hey, that's all great. But I admire that because it can feel very overwhelming when you see things like TikTok and this and that, and like you got to do video and you got to do this and you got to do that. But I noticed for you, you've only stayed, well, besides the email list, Instagram, that's like your primary source of like bringing in people, visibility and all that. And how do you just like, this is where I'm staying, and like does that work for you? What are your thoughts on it?
Yes. Okay. This email list that I have is brand new. I literally created it for the Body Weave Masterclass. And it finally, so I had an old email list that I created when I first started my business in 2018. I had something like 350 people, and I abandoned it completely. Like I was like, oh, I can go back into this and I can just restart it up again. And I was like, nope, I want to start all over because I'm doing completely different work now. And the people that I want to bring into like this email list are my people. And so like I don't give a shit about the 350. Like the people that are going to come into this are my people. So I'm happy starting over. That feels so good for me. And yeah, social media or Instagram. I very much listen to the cues of my body, mostly my sacral space. I don't know if you know anything about human design. I am a generator. And like I intuitively know when something is right for me and when something is wrong for me. And the way that I know is because my body and my inner being will like scream it at me, literally scream it at me. So I'll give an example. Like there will be a coach that I want to hire. I will just happen upon like a single post and I just automatically know it's a fuck yes. And then my body will be like, do it, do it, do it. Hire them now, 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 now. And I'm like, okay, oh my God, okay, let me figure this out real quick. Shit. And that's kind of how it's been for me my entire life. I don't think I realized it earlier. That's how it always was for me. But now I'm very, very, I have very good body literacy. Like I can read the signals and the messages from my body. And I just don't give a shit about any other platform. I don't want to. Like when I feel into my body, like what feels good for me, I'm like, Instagram and my email list feels perfect. That's all that I care about having. And I will nurture the shit out of the amazing people that are in my space. And I am also so open to any other incredible humans that want to join me in my bougie little corner of my social medias, which is my 17 people in my email list and my Instagram. And I'm not interested in being on a million different platforms. It's just not for me. And so I want to invite anybody that feels like they need to or they have to, be on TikTok or they have to yada yada, whatever the things. If you feel into your body and this feels like so gross to you, you're like, I actually hate this. Stop. You don't have to do it. You don't have to have a TikTok. You don't have to have a podcast unless you're someone like Jen who's like, fuck yes, podcast. I know for you, Jen, like your podcast is like your soul. It's your baby. You're like, ugh, this is where I want to put my energy. This is what I want to nurture. That feels like, does it feel like a fuck yes for you in your body when you think of your podcast?
Oh yeah, there's no question about it. And that's the thing, like, out of all the things I've been consistent with in the last couple of years, this is the only one, like, that I'm like, no, there's like no question. Yeah, I might have a break. Yeah, I might have like an episode a month type of phase, because I'm going through, because of life. But then it's never been like, oh, maybe I shouldn't do. No, like that thought never enters my brain.
Exactly.
And I would feel about other things like that in my life because I feel like it's easier when it's like a fuck yes versus like maybe, and I don't know. And that's kind of like where I'm at in life right now, where I'm just like, oh, I could do this, or I kind of want, I don't know.
Yeah, like
Ugh,
what do
feels
you
so
want to
gross.
do?
But
And
I have no
sometimes,
idea.
yeah, like, and that's okay. Like you might actually you might have a pin in some of those things. So for example, I knew I wanted to do an email list. Like I had been thinking about it for the last like year, but it just didn't feel right yet in my body. And so there was a pin. I was like, I know I'm going to have an email list again. It just doesn't feel right. I don't feel committed to it. I really just don't. Until I was. It was like something happened. I was like, I'm ready for this. This feels good now. Okay, I'm committed to this now. Now this feels fun for me. It doesn't feel like a have to or a need to. It just feels like, ooh, I get to do this. Like a different space that I get to connect with my people. That sounds like that's what I want to do. And so you might have a pin in some of these things that you're thinking about. And right now you're just like creating space for in your body. And one day you'll step into some of those things. And it won't feel like a should I or maybe or
Like the
it'll feel like
YouTube. Now we're doing.
exactly.
This has been years in the working, and I'm like, I'm
Right.
ready. Okay,
You gave yourself
I'm
the
gonna
space
put
to
a pin
nurture that.
on this conversation because my anxiety is my dog is outside. I'm like, and she's still out because sometimes she escapes.
Oh no.
And I'm like, I'm sure she's still there, but I'm like, I want to make sure she's still there.
Okay.
Okay, she's still there.
Yay.
We have my sister's dog had she had a litter of puppies, and she gets I know, and Coco is so entertained by them, and she would just go out there. And I haven't been able to get close to them because one of the dogs, like one of her other big dogs, she's not the most comfortable with me yet. And she's right there guarding the dogs, and I'm like, I just want to go.
Let me pet
I grab
him.
them. But
Let me
yes,
smell that taco breath because it's the cutest thing.
taco breath. Oh my god.
Real quick, I'm sorry, and you can cut this out. I have a call at 12, and that's in 3 minutes.
Girl, in 3 minutes?
Oh wait, maybe it's 12:30. Let me check. People in watching this, give us a moment. Oh, it's 12:30. No. I got 30 minutes.
Okay, well we'll wrap it up.
No. This is perfect. This is perfect. As long as I have 5 minutes before. I'm already ready for that session,
Dang,
so it's all
girl.
good.
You own it. You own it. I think that I think that's like the gist of what I want to talk about today. But the social media thing too is like I think we need to see more examples like you because like I said, it can feel very like I see people who are already like huge, like let's say Gary Vee, and I don't know if you know Jasmine Star. She's like one of my idols.
Yes.
They're everywhere, but they have teams, right? And they can be in all the places because they got people to be like, okay, they got their social, for this and person for that. And I don't know. I'm just like I guess let's go back to like what you said. Your body knows. It tells you what feels good and like when you're ready for it. And also something that you said that really resonated with me was when you said your new email list. Like these are my people. I wanted to start all over. And recently I've been wanting to start over on YouTube. Cause like not like I've never had a really YouTube presence, but I mean like social media wise, everything like where I show up, I really want to establish a new presence on YouTube because I have one on Instagram, right, and Facebook and whatever, but Instagram feels very like old energy to me. It just doesn't feel like I still show up there because I do enjoy it. Like it's just I just do.
Yeah,
but
like
it
a
just
playground.
doesn't feel. Yeah, I guess it doesn't feel as exciting to me. I'm like, but YouTube, I'm like, recently it's been like calling to me, like, come nurture me, come see what's over here. And I'm like, I want to find my people. Not to say like I don't have people on Instagram, but like I really, really want to find like a community. I want to build a community. I want to create one with the modern Frida. And I don't know why, but YouTube has been like,
it's been teasing you. It's like, come here, baby. Let me give you a back massage. And you're like, okay.
Funny.
He's like, let me tickle your feet. Like, just like calling you over. Or whatever your kink is, you guys.
Yeah. Oh my goodness. No, yeah, it really, that's where I'm at. And also, I wanted to know, do you have boundaries with Instagram, since that's what you're at, social media?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Well, 100%. I only like I am not someone who content batches or like I don't do any of that stuff. So anything that I post came from like this really powerful flow of whatever was current for me during that creative process. And I hold a really powerful belief that it's more than enough. And I think that's a big one, that no matter how many platforms you're on or how many social medias you have, it's like you don't have to be on 50 different social media platforms in order to create the things that you desire in your life. Like I am on Instagram and I have my email list and I am in such powerful belief that that's more than enough. Like I don't need to be on TikTok and all these other places in order for my people to find me. They will find me. I have this like energetic portal that is just like blasting out of my soul. That's like going and tapping on my people's shoulders and it's like, "Hey, come look over here. Come look over here. Come look over here." And then it's up to them to decide like, "Ooh, do I want to go this way?" And it's up to them. And my people always find me no matter where I am. No matter how many times I post, no matter how many emails I send, it doesn't matter. And your people, Jen, your people, even if they're on Instagram, they will make their way over to YouTube if they are your people. They'll be like, "Oh my God, Jen has a YouTube channel? Oh, fuck yes. I got to go subscribe to that right now." Those are your people.
Yes.
It's amazing. Yes. Also, I want to say, I wanted to talk about really quickly. I don't remember how to segue into this, but like, it's really, really important. And this was like such a huge focus on the first day of my Body Weave Masterclass. And this is also a really big focus of my new 4-month group experience, Raw, the coaching program that I'm launching, is like knowing what you actually deeply desire for your life. Like if you're on like all these different social media platforms, what is it exactly that you are trying to create? What is the kind of life that you are wanting to live? How much money do you wish to call in? Like all of the little details. If you go to my first day, Jen, there's like a whole visualization exercise that goes into like uncovering some deeper desires. I think most of us don't realize that the things that we want are like surface level. And a lot of the times, the things that we really, really want are like underneath the surface, but we're almost too afraid to tap into those things because a lot of the times we believe we're either not allowed to have the things that we want or, we can't have them because of all these excuses that we're not supposed to have them. We have so many different reasons for why we suppress the things that we truly want in life, especially as women. We tell ourselves things a lot like, "Who are you to want that much money? Oh, that's selfish for you to want this." Or like, "You couldn't possibly X, Y, and Z," right? And so learning or taking the time to really deeply sink into, what do I deeply desire for my life? Like, what are the things that I don't even allow myself to think about wanting? Or what are the things that I won't even allow myself? What are the things I don't even dare to say out loud? Like, oh, I can't tell people this is what I secretly want. I know you shared one with me, Jen. You don't have
With
to
the
share it on this
podcast?
podcast, but but you can if you want to.
I think if it was like having like a top 5 podcast or something, like being, I want this podcast to like blow up.
Yes. That's amazing.
Yes, and all, yes, it's gonna happen. It's gonna happen. And I mean, it will. And yeah, I think those are powerful questions. Like, it's funny, like I have no idea. Like right now, like this is why I want to work with you in the future again, because like, girl, I'm like
You
all
will.
over the place right now. I will. I know I will. Like now I know I will, because it happens already once and it'll happen again.
Mm-hmm.
But it's kind of like my, I don't even want to talk about, ugh, it's so gross talking about, I'm trying, see, this is, I need to
But that's
stop. I
exactly,
am,
this is so good though. Like
I
this is
know.
such a good, this is so powerful for the people listening. So many of us women are like, will not allow ourselves to take up space, right? Like you're like, oh, well, you already have all these other podcasts, Jen, where you talk about where you're solo and you talk about yourself enough. Like this is about your guest. But like, fuck it. This is your podcast, Jen. You want to say something
I
and you
know.
want to take up space here? Do it, girl. Do it. Don't deny yourself of the space. Let people see you. Let people hear you. You got to do it.
Yes. But you know what also like stops me, and I'm gonna talk. I actually will talk about this more soon as well. Is the little voices in your head? They have
Mm-hmm.
a face sometimes, and for me, like my podcast, little voice that plays in my head is like Jasmine Star. She is like
Mm-hmm.
again one of my idols, but she's very very. I realized yesterday. I'm like, girl, you are not her. You can be inspired by her, but you are not her. And I say that because she's very strict about like serving the people. Like just everything's about benefiting them basically, right? And she's
Mm-hmm.
great at that. Like she can do it in a way where she can talk about her story and stuff herself, but like bring it right back to like serving the people. But for me, it's like I'm not I can't really do that. Like
You
it's
don't want
just
to.
maybe I don't. Maybe I'm just like I do want to serve the people, right? Like my Fridas, but like I don't do it in a way where I'm like I don't know. I don't do it in the Jasmine Star way. I do it my way, and um, I don't know. Sometimes I'm just like, well, they say like you can't be talking about when it comes to marketing because I'm a huge marketing. I love marketing.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's one of my passions. So I observe a lot of people's and stuff like that, and they say like it can't be about you or I. If you say I a lot, I, it's like it has to be about them too, like you. Like, are you being selfish? What about them? I'm like, oh my god, am I being selfish? Am I? So but I'm like, this is my fucking podcast.
That is
Like,
so
but
barf to
still, you know what I
me.
mean? It's so
Like,
what?
I
Barf.
said, that's so barf to me. I'm like,
Yeah.
I fully believe, okay, it's every single word that comes out of your fucking mouth is serving your people. Every single thing that you do serves your people. And period. Like the stories that you share, like you don't, anyone listening, you don't have to have like 5 actionable tips, da 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 da, or 5 ways that you can X, Y, and Z. It's like sometimes just sharing your story and talking about you is like the most powerful thing that you could ever offer somebody. And how many women out there are thinking the same thing as you, Jen, and aren't doing the thing they want to do because they're like, well, I only have stories about me and I only have my own experiences and I don't have 5 tips for this and I don't have, and it's like, just talk about you. You're absolutely right.
I
It's
feel
your
that.
fucking podcast. You get to do whatever you want to
Yeah.
do. And I want you to like practice the belief that every single thing that I put out into the world serves my people every single time. Every single time. I don't care if it's like a single picture of your face when you're crowned. It's serving your people.
Okay.
Right? Like, think about it. You could have someone, this has happened for me where I'll feel shitty. And then I have like one of my really good friends, like, take a photo of them looking all badass. And I'm like, oh, what the fuck? Like, she looks so good. I want to feel good. And I'll go throw on like some earrings or like put on some mascara or like throw on like a choker and some gold. And I'm like, all right, okay, all right. I can feel like shit and look good. Like, thank you for adding value to my life. Thank you for reminding me that like it's okay that I'm in this space and it doesn't mean anything. Like, it doesn't matter what it is that you're putting out into the world. This is for everybody listening. It is serving your people in some way, shape, or form. Because you are it. You are the value. Your existence is the value. So go out there and exist, people.
I love it. I love it. I love it. Well, I'm speechless.
We need to do more podcasts. This is fun.
You know, it's funny.
We need part 2.
I was listening to episode 7, which this is coming to an end. So after this, go listen to episode 7. It's actually really good, y'all. Like, it is really good. Like, if you are, we talked a little about coaching then, like, but the actual like maybe concept of coaching, like as you're starting out, and so I don't know. I would just recommend it to like my seasoned coaches and newbie coaches, and yeah, it was just a really good episode. So go listen to it. But I was like, I don't know why, but like I see you in my life a lot more. And yeah.
I'm hugging myself like I'm hugging you.
I'm like, I really do. And it's so weird to me because I don't know if I've ever felt that way, like had that notion in my body. But I'm like, I don't know why. And you're such a great what's the word? I don't know what the word is. Like, you're really good at talking. Let's just put it that way. And expressing your thoughts and expressing what you do. And I admire it. And like I could just see you speaking, like being a speaker. There you go. Maybe that's the word I'm looking for. Like I can see you doing
scary.
That. It could be scary, but I mean,
oh yeah,
it's not out of reach.
Every time I get off of a podcast, I always have a vulnerability hangover to anyone listening. Because I think I allow myself to be so fully invested in this. I'm not really worried about like, okay, I need to sound eloquent and make sure I don't say or write a lot, or oh my God, I didn't finish my thought in here. Oh, I forgot this. And now I just kind of let myself go and just say whatever the hell comes out of my face. And but I still always get some sort of vulnerability hangover after, like, oh my God, I don't even remember what I said. Did anything I say make sense? What is even da, 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 da? Like, it happens every single time. And I think that's just a part of it. And so I receive that compliment so deeply because I've had to do a lot of practicing when it comes to this. And the practicing wasn't like how to be a better speaker. It was the practice of like, just show up and just fucking be who you are, however messy that looks, and practice sitting in the discomfort of whatever came out of that. So it wasn't about like changing anything. It really was just about like having acceptance over me allowing myself to be fully expressed in any platform that I show up in, and being okay with whatever that outcome is, no matter how messy the podcast, no matter how messy it ends up.
Well, you're doing amazing, and you've done great. Because on the last one, you also said like it was something you used to be really afraid of even doing workshops.
Oh, for
and
sure.
Here you are now, like you do them all the time. But you're always welcome at the Modern Freedom Podcast. Whenever you hit me up, Jen, I have something to say. I'm like, okay, let's book this. you're like have open we have an open door policy for you here.
I mean, love that.
Yes, you're like I've only had like everybody else. Like, what I'm trying to say is that you're the only person who's had 2 episodes as a guest on my podcast.
Oh my god!
So, and you're the first person. Like, this is gonna be the first the first video recording of the podcast that's gonna go on YouTube, which is really exciting.
Oh my god, we're doing some gangster shit today.
Yeah. Yeah, so I'm excited about that, and I'm gonna let you go. Any last words?
No. Well, come find me on Instagram, friends. If you'd love to be a part of my like bougie little fun corner of my platforms, come find me at Lexi Beal, LexiBeal. If you want to really practice uncovering your truth and using your voice and showing up fully expressed and living in coherence with your truth. And we are all about the wild, feral, too muchness happening on my page. So please come find me. And Jen, you're amazing. I always have so much fun talking to you on these podcasts, and hearts. And welcome everyone who watches this on YouTube. I know it's going to be epic.
I'm so excited. I can do like visual things to them now.
I know. Oh, girl, I polished my nails yesterday for this podcast. So look at that.
Oh, fancy.
I'm like, we're going to look pretty.
Aww. Okay, well, that wraps up the first YouTube podcast video. Thank you for being here. Oh, and for my listeners on Spotify and iTunes and Apple and all that fun stuff. Oh my god. Okay, so subscribe to my channel. And if you and sign up for my email list. Sign up for the podcast email list. It is in the description below. It's in the show notes. Yeah, that's something I'm doing new, like, because I don't want to be on social media forever. So sign up for my email list. Okay. Bye.
Bye, y'all.
Bye.